Welcome to biology classes. We are going to start chapter 6, Anatomy of Flowering Plants. When we study the internal structure of organisms, it is called as anatomy. So in this chapter we are going to deal with the internal structure and functional organization of higher plants. You very well know that the basic unit of all the organisms is cell. So including plants, the basic unit of plants also is cell. Now various cells organize to form tissue, and tissues in turn are organized to form organs. A tissue is a group of cells having a common origin and usually performing a common function. In case of plants, the tissues are divided into two main groups on the basis of their capability to divide. The tissues in plants which are capable of division are called as meristematic tissue, and the tissues that have lost the capacity to divide are called as permanent tissue. The organization of plants is quite different from that of animals. The growth in animals is overall, the body as a whole grows, but in case of plants there are specialized regions in which growth is restricted. These areas or regions of active growth have cells called as meristematic cells, and the tissue is called as meristematic tissue. Plants have various types of meristematic tissue. The apical meristem occurs at the tips of roots and shoots, and these are called as primary tissues. The meristem that occurs at the apex of the root is called as root apical meristem, and that occupies the apex of the shoot, the tip of the shoot, is called as shoot apical meristem. When the plant is growing, some of the meristem gets left behind from the shoot apical meristem. That constitute the axillary bud. So imagine a plant that is growing, and during the formation of leaves and stems, some of the meristem are left behind. These are called as axillary bud, and these are found at the nodes of the plant, and they produce buds, and these buds can either produce a new branch or a flower. The meristem that is found in between the mature tissue is called as intercalary meristem. They occur in grasses and helps in regeneration of the grasses. When herbivores they graze the grass, the tip of the grass is cut off, and then these grass again grow. So that growth occurs because of the presence of intercalary meristem. Now both apical meristem and intercalary meristems, these are called as primary meristem, because these are present when the plant is very young and green. That is, in the early life of plant you can find these meristems, and these help in the growth of the plant when it is young. That's why it is called as primary meristem. When the plant grows, then from herbaceous type it changes into woody type. So in this condition, the meristem that is found in the mature regions of roots and shoots, it is called as secondary or lateral meristem. Now the lateral meristem, it forms a circular structure, and as the plant grows it keeps on adding and looks like a cylinder. So that's why these are called as cylindrical meristem. Fascicular vascular cambium, interfascicular cambium, and cork cambium, we are going to discuss about all these in detail. These are all called as lateral meristem, and they are responsible for the secondary growth, that is forming the woody part of the plant. Now whether the cells are formed from the primary or the secondary meristem, these cells start growing and after growth they mature and take up a particular function. Once they take up the function of doing anything, then they lose their capacity to divide and they change into permanent or mature cells. So it is clear that the cells of permanent tissue, they do not divide. They have lost the capacity to divide. Now when all the cells present in the permanent tissue, they are similar in structure and function, these type of permanent tissues are called as simple permanent tissues. And if the permanent tissues have many different types of cells which together perform a particular function, then they are called as complex tissues. Now first we are going to deal with the simple permanent tissue. Plants have three types of simple permanent tissue: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Now parenchyma forms the main component of all the organs of plants. The cells of parenchyma, they are almost of the same size, that is they are isodiametric. Their shape can vary greatly. They can be spherical, oval, round, polygonal or elongated in their shape. Their walls are mainly made up of cellulose and have thin walls. They are either very closely packed without having any intercellular space, or they can have a little bit of intercellular space between them. The function that they perform is photosynthesis, storage and secretion. Next tissue is collenchyma, that forms a layer beneath the epidermis. Now this layer can be either continuous, that is homogeneous, or it can be in patches. Now these cells, the cells of collenchyma, they are thickened at corners. The corners have deposition of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin, and because of the thickened cells, they do not have any intercellular space. So this is a major difference between parenchyma and collenchyma. The cell of parenchyma, the cell wall is made up of only cellulose, but in case of collenchyma, the corners are thickened due to deposition of three things, that is cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin, and because of that they don't have any intercellular space. Cells of collenchymatous tissue can be either oval, spherical or polygonal, and they may contain chloroplast. If they have chloroplast, then they will help in photosynthesis. The function is that they provide mechanical support to the growing parts of plant, such as young stem, petiole of a leaf, etc. Now next tissue that we have to deal is sclerenchyma. The cells of sclerenchyma are lignified, that is their walls have deposition of lignin, and because of that the walls are very thick. They are usually dead without protoplast. On the basis of their origin and structure, they can be divided into two types. When they are thick walled, elongated and pointed, then they are called as fibers, as you can see in the fiber of coconut. When they are spherical, oval, cylindrical and very thick dead cells with narrow lumen or cavity, then they are called as sclerites. These sclerites can be found in fruit walls of nuts, pulp of fruits like guava, pear and sapota, seed coats of legumes and leaves of tea. Sclerenchyma overall provides mechanical support to the organs that they are present in. When the permanent tissues are made up of more than one type of cells, then they are called as complex permanent tissue. All these different types of cells together work as a unit and perform a particular function. Xylem and phloem, they constitute the complex tissues in plants. Now xylem, it has four components in it: xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers, tracheids and vessels. All the components of xylem together help in conduction of water and minerals from root to the stem and leaves. Now first of all, tracheids. Tracheids are tube-like cells with thick and lignified walls and tapering ends, that is the ends are pointed. These are dead and without protoplasm. The inner layer of the cells have thickenings which can vary. In flowering plants, tracheids and vessels are the main water transporting elements. Vessels are cylindrical tube-like structure made up of many cells called vessel members, each with lignified walls and a large central cavity. Vessels are devoid of protoplasm, so again they can be called as dead. Vessel members are interconnected with each other by small pores present on their common walls. These pores are called as perforations. The presence of vessels is a characteristic feature of angiosperms, as gymnosperms lack vessels. This is very important. This can come as a question. Gymnosperms, they lack vessels. Angiosperms are the only plants that possess xylem vessels. The transport in xylem is always unidirectional, that is moving from root towards the leaves. Now we are coming to phloem. In case of phloem, the transport is bidirectional, that is the food can be transported from leaves to other parts of the plant, and during adverse conditions the stored food material from roots or other parts can be transported to the whole plant. So the transport can be from top to bottom or from bottom to top. That's why it is said as bidirectional transport. Phloem in angiosperms is composed of sieve tube elements, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Gymnosperms lack sieve tubes and companion cells. Instead, their phloem consists of albuminous cells and sieve cells. Sieve tube elements are long, tube-like structures arranged longitudinally and are associated with companion cells. Their end walls are perforated in a sieve-like manner to form sieve plates. A mature sieve element possesses a peripheral cytoplasm and a large vacuole, but it always lacks a nucleus. That's why they require companion cells to help in controlling their functions. The nucleus of the companion cell control the functions of the sieve tube elements also. The companion cells are specialized parenchymatous cells which are very closely associated with the sieve tube elements. Sieve tube elements and companion cells are connected by pit fields present between their common longitudinal wall. The companion cells help in maintaining the pressure gradient in sieve tubes. Parenchyma is made up of elongated, tapering cylindrical cells which have dense cytoplasm and nucleus. The cell wall is composed of cellulose and has pits through which the plasmodesmatal connection exists between the cells. That is, there are small pits on the walls that helps in connecting the protoplasm of one cell to the other. The phloem parenchyma stores food material and other substances like resins, latex and mucilage. Phloem parenchyma is absent in most of the monocotyledon. This is again very important to be noted. Phloem fibers are made up of sclerenchymatous cells. They are generally absent in primary phloem, that is when the plant is very young. These are absent, but are found in secondary phloem, that is when it gets mature. These are much elongated, unbranched and have pointed needle-like apex. The cell walls of phloem fibers is quite thick. At maturity, these fibers lose their protoplasm and become dead.